Europe is a continent divided into two distinct regions, Western Europe and Eastern Europe. Despite efforts to bridge the gap between these regions, there are still significant differences, especially in terms of wealth. The average GDP per capita in Eastern Europe, which includes 16 countries, is around $14,000, while in Western Europe, which is home to some of the wealthiest nations in the world, the average GDP per capita is around $68,000. This stark contrast raises questions about the underlying factors that have led to such a wide economic disparity. There are many reasons for the economic gap between Eastern and Western Europe. One major factor is the legacy of the Cold War. During the Cold War, Eastern Europe was under the control of the Soviet Union, which had a centrally planned economy that stifled economic growth. After the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Eastern European countries had to transition to a market economy, which was a difficult and challenging process. Another factor that has contributed to the economic divide is the level of investment in Eastern Europe. Western European countries have invested heavily in their infrastructure and industries, while Eastern European countries have struggled to attract investment. This has led to a gap in productivity and economic growth. Finally, the education and skills of the workforce also play a role in the economic disparity. Eastern European countries have a lower level of education and skills than Western European countries. This makes it more difficult for Eastern European companies to compete with Western European companies in the global market. Addressing the economic divide between Eastern and Western Europe will require a comprehensive approach that addresses the legacy of the Cold War, increases investment in Eastern Europe, and improves the education and skills of the workforce. Eastern Europe's geography is a tale of two extremes. While the flat plains of Ukraine, Poland and Belarus offer fertile land for agriculture, this same terrain has made the region an easy target for invaders throughout history, leading to a history of conflict. Conversely, the mountainous landscapes of the Balkan nations have hindered infrastructure development, hampering economic growth. The fertile plains of Eastern Europe have historically been a source of wealth and prosperity. However, this same flat terrain has made the region vulnerable to invasion. Throughout history, empires have marched across these open lands, plundering and conquering the region's riches. This legacy of conflict has left a lasting mark on the region, shaping its culture and politics. In contrast, the mountainous regions of the Balkan Peninsula have posed a challenge to infrastructure development. Building roads, railways, and other essential infrastructure is more difficult in mountainous terrain, making it harder to connect towns and cities and facilitate trade. This lack of infrastructure has hindered economic growth in the Balkan nations, perpetuating poverty and inequality. The geographical paradox of Eastern Europe highlights the challenges and opportunities that the region faces. While the fertile plains offer the potential for prosperity, the legacy of conflict and the challenges of mountainous terrain present ongoing obstacles to development. Overcoming these challenges will require a concerted effort to build peace, infrastructure, and economic opportunities, creating a brighter future for Eastern Europe. A key factor contributing to the economic divide between Western and Eastern Europe is their proximity to oceans. Western European countries enjoy a significant advantage as no point within their borders is more than 350 kilometers from the sea. This proximity facilitates international trade and helps to boost their economies. In contrast, parts of Eastern Europe are landlocked, with distances to open waters exceeding 1,000 kilometers. This makes international trade costly and difficult, hindering their economic growth. Another significant factor is the impact of communism on Eastern Europe. Following the rise of the Soviet Union in 1917, a communist economic system was imposed on Eastern European countries. This system, characterized by centralized control and state ownership, proved to be inefficient and stifled economic progress. After the fall of communism in 1989, Eastern European nations transitioned to market-based economies. However, the legacy of communism continues to hinder their economic development, with lingering inefficiencies, a lack of investment, and a scarcity of entrepreneurial spirit. After the fall of communism, many people from Eastern Europe moved to Western Europe in search of better opportunities. This mass exodus of talent left a void in innovation and entrepreneurship, hindering economic growth in the region. Conflicts have also played a significant role in Eastern Europe's economic struggles. The region's history is marked by wars, and recent conflicts like the breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s and Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2014 and 2024 have caused immense damage to infrastructure and disrupted economic activities. Unlike Western Europe, which underwent industrialization in the 18th and 19th centuries, Eastern Europe's industrial development was largely delayed until the 20th century. Under communist regimes, industrialization focused heavily on manufacturing and heavy industry, while neglecting other sectors. This left Eastern Europe ill-prepared for the transition to a market-driven economy after communism's collapse. As a result, many industries declined, leading to widespread unemployment and economic hardship. When some Eastern European countries joined the European Union, they agreed to meet certain standards of governance. These standards include transparency, accountability, and inclusiveness. However, many of these countries are still struggling to meet these standards. One of the biggest problems is corruption. Corruption is widespread in many Eastern European countries, and it is a major obstacle to progress. Corruption makes it difficult for businesses to operate fairly and efficiently, and it also discourages investment. As a result of these problems, some Eastern European countries are still struggling to develop their economies. While some countries, like Poland, have made progress since joining the EU, others remain mired in economic crises. The future of Eastern Europe is uncertain. It is not clear whether these countries will be able to bridge the wealth gap with their Western counterparts. However, there is hope that they can overcome their challenges and achieve prosperity. In attempting to solve the mystery of why Eastern Europe lags economically behind Western Europe, we come across a tapestry woven of historical, institutional, educational, infrastructural, and global variables. The story is not one of stagnation, but of an area dealing with one-of-a-kind hurdles on its path to success. The international community and the countries of Eastern Europe must work together to address these issues. A more level playing field may be achieved by infrastructural development, institutional reforms, and education investments. It is critical to acknowledge the strength and promise that lay within Eastern Europe, just waiting to be unleashed for a better future as the region navigates its way toward economic equality. That's all for today's video. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed watching. If you found the content helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time.